And Mark, can we shut down the video, we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and start the regular town board meeting. Sound good? All right, thank you, Blaine. And I'll do my walk. All right, we have a good crowd today. How are you? Hey, how are you? All right, Charlie.
Yes, I got them both, yeah. I sent my son to my friends. Hi, Megan. Hi, so good to see you. It's been a long time.
Okay, 5 minutes will go quick. I know this crew over here is from the town. If anybody would like to speak at the 5 minutes open to the public, we have you sign in on the sheet. I think it was hidden by the agendas. So right now we got Dorothy Fate and we have Diana Davis. Does anybody else want to speak at the 5 minutes open to the public? Pardon?
You gotta sign up.
There you go. And then Dave, you signed in for the public hearing about the 6 property owners on Linda Lane dissolution. I'm going to guess that you don't have anything to say about that.
No.
So we'll get you on here. Going once? Would you like to speak? No? Okay, so we got Denise. Would you like to speak? You do not. That's a great question. If somebody gets up there for 5 minutes and rattles out 37 questions, the board is not going to sit there and answer 37 questions. So usually we don't ask questions or answer questions unless it's something that it's kind of a, I'm trying to think how to explain it. How would you explain it, Bridget? When do we answer a question from someone taking the podium? I can't sell this to people. You're in there, Diana. You already. Would you like to talk? Would you like to talk?
I will just tonight.
Come on, Dave. You gotta sign on there.
Yeah, you cross that one.
I don't think anybody's gonna be here to talk about that. Linda Lee. All right. Thank you, sir. Look at you.
Go on in.
All right.
Can I buy up 10 spots?
I do.
Oh, it's busy. It looks pretty busy. It's actually good, sir.
Yes, I'll get my name.
I was in early here, there was about 10 people here.
We should sell those. I would seriously buy the logo and everything. I mean, right? That would be a good fundraising opportunity for the town. Have them on sale on a rack and park. Yeah. Can you just say like resident, the town of Webster, New York, resident? Put it on the logo and sell it?
You might be onto something.
I'm serious. Right?
It's a little better.
I should have worn one of my
They also said,
I think we're about to start.
oh, so. Called me and said, hey, you want to work?
Okay. 7:47. Mark,
That was a pretty good one.
you tell me when. Are we good? Okay, well, welcome everybody to the Thursday, November 7th Webster Town Board meeting. Let's bring it to order. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Deneen, can you do roll, please?
Supervisor Flaherty.
Here.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Present. Councilman Cahill. Here. Councilman Nguyen. Here. Councilwoman Wright. Here. Town Attorney Genesi.
Present. Okay, our first item tonight is a public hearing to consider a plan to dissolve a special improvement district, specifically the Linda Lane extension to the town-wide sanitary sewer district. For people that come to these meetings or watch them live or watch them on tape on a normal basis, they know that this has been going on for a couple of years now without going down the path of this. I think it's 6 or 7 homeowners that wanted to get off of septic, get onto our sewer system. A myriad of things occurred that is no longer going to happen. So if nobody signed up to talk at this, which I'm not surprised, because the 6 or 7 homeowners that were affected by this are very understanding of why this is being dissolved. So with that, I will open the public hearing. Has anybody got thoughts of talking about these 6 properties on Linda Lane and this dissolving of the special district that was set up, I think, a couple years ago for this? So I am going to close the public hearing. Board members, because I knew that this is not a controversial thing, I'm inclined to do a resolution tonight, a motion for the Webster Town Board approving a plan to dissolve a special improvement district, specifically the Linda Lane extension to the town-wide sanitary sewer district, north of Charles E. Sexton Memorial Park and east of Polk Road in the town of Webster. That's my motion.
Second. Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Aye. Councilwoman Nguyen. Aye. Councilwoman Wright. Aye.
Okay. Next up is the part of the meeting where the public gets to take the podium. For, each person has up to 5 minutes to take the podium to speak about anything their heart desires. And we have, what's it got to do with my list? Do I have it underneath? I have it, what it has. We have 4 people that signed up tonight. Dorothy Fate, you are first.
Dorothy Fate, 742 Hightower Way. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board tonight. I have 2 different issues I'd like to address. My first is the commission of a consultant to lead the updated comprehensive plan, and I'm glad we're going forward with that. I believe an update will garner us more points on any grant application, so that's a great thing. On any of their rubrics, usually having an updated town plan makes a difference. However, I do believe that there is much that is right about our 2008 plan regarding the direction our town should be proceeding. I believe it was nearly a year ago that this board started moving forward on this, and at the time the board asked for a citizen survey. And also the supervisor indicated some of his first steps were to ask each department head to look at that 2008 plan and the steps or the path that was laid out to achieve those goals and objectives. The department heads were to report back as to what goals had been achieved, but more importantly, they were to address barriers or roadblocks to achieving those goals. I believe that this information is critical as we move forward to update our plan, and I would ask the board to release that information so the concerned citizens have time to review those barriers, those roadblocks, and try to discern ways to address them in the next plan. My second concern is to ask the board to table its resolution to set a public hearing about establishing a PPD on the lumberyard property. I do not believe that more senior housing is needed in Webster, and I would support the combined office park zoning with no special use variances. The board denied senior housing on property across from Willink Middle School a year or two ago and asked Morgan developers to show that more was needed, and they did not. Directly across from the lumberyard is an apartment complex labeled senior housing. Anecdotally, I can only say that 2 years ago, while helping my mother search for senior housing, we looked at that complex. We asked if it was a 55 and older community, and we were told, well, mostly. So I would ask the board to again place the burden on the developer to prove that we have a need for more senior apartments. The designation office park for zoning has many more requirements for preserving old wood forest, has strict conditions regarding the amount of coverage that is allowed. This property is ecologically sensitive in that it has streams and wetlands and therefore habitats that need to be preserved. Webster being located next to the lake and having so many tributaries and streams into Lake Ontario requires that we be mindful of our development and preserve and protect critical ecologically sensitive areas. Retention ponds constructed as shown on this site plan do not preserve habitat. And I would ask that the town not move forward on this resolution at this time. Wait for the completion of the updated comprehensive plan before considering anything that is tantamount to rezoning attempts that removes protections of the current office park designation has. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgie. Okay, next up tonight is Diana Davis.
Hello, guys. Good to see you all again.
Hey, Diana, you still have the
I
succulent.
know, I saw it when I was in the
That is the Diana
audience.
Davis succulent.
I really do think it adds a lot of cheer to the entire proceedings. So
Your idea.
I'll give Patty the credit, but I think it was a great idea. So yeah, I'm just to echo really some of Dottie's points. I think it's our position really that there's a couple main points. One is the woodlot EPOD. I think that's a huge thing. The fact that there is a woodlot EPOD on this property indicates that, according to prior open space plans and according to the comprehensive plan in its discussion of woodlots, this would be a particular area of environmental sensitivity, and the intention really, when those woodlot EPODs were created and when the comp plan discusses them, particularly their use in conjunction with office park zoning as this property is, it's clear that the intention is to restrict development, not obviously outlaw completely 100%, but to add an additional level of control and restriction so that we're making sure that the maximum amount of green space is preserved, minimum amount of impact. Using a PDD in conjunction with a special use permit is contravening not only the intention of the EPOD, but really it's undermining the whole sort of, I want to say veracity, but that's not quite the word. It's essentially a workaround, right? It's kind of like almost a rezone without rezoning. So when you look at the regulations for the PDD, it's clear that they're not meant to be used to allow uses that aren't already pre-existent uses. And I think it's disingenuous to claim that if something is allowed with a special use permit, it's a pre-existent use. It's not. That's what a special use permit means. It's special, right? So even though there are obviously provisions within the Office Park District to allow senior housing with a special use permit, the fact that this is Office Park District with an E-Pod on it indicates that it's pertinent to the parts of the comprehensive plan that say specifically that those areas should be preserved to the maximum extent possible. Not the maximum extent in a particular development that's been allowed with a PDD and a special use permit, but to the maximum extent possible, as in original office park zoning and the amount of preservation that that's asking. Then you also have, obviously, the fact that this property was part of literally every single green space plan that we've done. I hope you all enjoyed the throwback to 1974. I did scan that in, so if anybody wants to nerd out with the PDF, it's available. But yeah, it's like the jewel of Webster. There's one of two properties left unprotected. Tom knows exactly the other one I'm talking about, that are really like clutch, I think, for any future green space preservation. Were we to go forward with, you know I love the R word, the referendum, right? If there is a comprehensive plan update coming up that suggests that open space referendum be on the docket, letting the public vote on purchasing property, this would literally be one of two that we would want to get. It's right next to the Hojag Trail, it's right across from North Ponds. I could go on. All of this is to say that I understand that tonight's resolution is not about whether or not to issue the PDD, I get it. But for all of these reasons, in the prior October 17th workshop meeting, twice it was repeated, if this is, I think, acceptable, and there was another word, if the concept is acceptable, then we would ask there to be a public hearing set. For all of the reasons I've just outlined, the concept is not acceptable, okay? And because the comprehensive plan update is just coming up, it is the wrong time. We were told when we were pursuing a referendum in 2022 that it was the wrong time to pursue the referendum because with the comprehensive plan coming up, we didn't want to be preserving open space and locking it in, right, before the comprehensive plan. So by that same logic, with the comprehensive plan coming up, we don't want to be developing or going down the steps of making special allowances to facilitate the development of one of the last huge open green space parcels, in Webster. That's all I got.
Thank you, Diana. Okay, next up is Janice Jackman.
Hi there, Janice Jackman, 27 Westover Drive. I just have two questions. Number one, you're talking about the comprehensive plan. Am I correct that the last time this was revised was 2008? I'd like a yes or a no to that.
Is that correct, Josh? Well, now you'll know when we answer questions, young lady. I know you came in a little late for the workshop. In the presentation packet that Josh did, it showed the last update was 2008.
Can I ask why that is?
It was kind of
That's 16 years. I'm looking for leadership in this town. Can I get an answer as to why that is? That's a long time. And that's a long time considering how much development has happened here. I've lived here since 2001 or 2003, I can't remember. So let's call it 20 years. That almost matches the time, give or take 5 years, since this plan was last revisited. Since I have lived here, when I bought my home, the entire Target Plaza did not exist. It was all woods. When I bought my home, the batting cage and the golf tee were behind Brewster's. My house was sold as Forever Green. That was a mistake. You look at the amount of development that has happened in the last, say, 20 years. I'm going to say it's huge. It's an explosion. So I'm asking again, how did this go 16 years without a revisitation to that plan? I'd like an answer.
Well,
I think there are duties here.
Janice, you
Yes.
know, I came into office on January 1st, 2020.
Okay.
Alright? And comprehensive plan was one of my things that was on my campaign. Something happened 2.5 months into 2020, it was called COVID. Kind of threw a lot of things into disarray. But we came back, and you should get the presentation that Josh did. We came back
That he
in
did
2000, yes,
I was here for
2021 and
most
2022, once we started taking masks off and coming back into work, we hit this comprehensive plan hard. We applied for a grant in 2021 from the state, we got turned down. We did presentations in 21 on how we're gonna do this. We came back in 22, we learned from those things, we got the grant. We got 2,000 people to answer a survey in the fourth quarter of 2022. What I underestimated was that the state, once they awarded us $100,000, which is good for the taxpayers of Webster, for us to get that, I did not factor in the state was gonna take as long as they did going through the different iterations of us signing that contract. We are now at the point, and you should get his presentation, after a robust process that had 30 different firms that were reached out to, 5 responded, a vetting process that was very robust, and now tonight, we have an agenda item, number 12 on this, to authorize the supervisor to sign that agreement and hit the ground running in January of '25. That's the best answer I can give you, Janice,
Tom,
because
I
I wasn't here in 2019.
And I can
prior.
appreciate that.
So there's the answer.
Well, I can appreciate that, and I can appreciate COVID. But if you came on 2020, and no, you can't answer for other people, nor can I, who precede me in a job. But do you have any idea how we could go from 2008 to 2020? Is this common that plans last 16 years? Especially with the growth of the town?
And Denise, I don't want to be rude, we're done with the Q&A. I'm not going to speculate on what is common in other towns. My bandwidth is to take care of Webster. And we have a story about the comprehensive plan that I'll stand by and look anybody in the eye. We hit the ground running with the comprehensive plan. It took longer than I would have liked to get it off the ground, for the reasons I just described and what's in his presentation. Now, Janice, because you entered into a Q&A, you have 40 seconds left.
All right, my question is, are you allowing other people to be part of the comprehensive plan? People who have different vested
My question
interests?
is, and my comment is, please get his presentation, because all of it is in there. Part of a comprehensive plan, a big part of it is subcommittees and all that will start in January of '25.
Subcommittees, did you say?
Let's get the consultant on board, and they'll tell us how to best take this community and have a good work product that is good for the community in the 18 months it's going to take to do the
I hope
comprehensive
so.
plan. And we now are at 5 minutes.
I expect to see it.
All right, Denise, I expect to do it. All righty, Dave Malaki, that's a tough one to follow, Dave. How do you follow that? Can you do it?
Yeah.
All right.
I'd like to speak truth to power. I have a prepared statement I'll read, and I'll give you a copy so it's easy to transcribe. I'm Dave Malecki. I live in West Webster, off Gravel Road, just south of 104. As you know, I'm looking for help to improve pedestrian access across the Great Bay Outlet near the existing I-bond. On Monday, I attended the Walk Bike Webster event at the Webster Library, and I'd like to thank Councilman Penn and Mr. Kashani for their participation in that. Today's agenda, item number 10, is in regards to 799 Holt Road. I believe the project should offer residents there the ability to directly access the Woodjack Trail without having to cross Holt Road. I believe the concept drawings should be updated to contain that before the public hearing. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, does anybody else want to take that podium quickly? Wow. Okay. Jump up there.
Briefly as I may, Mr. Supervisor, my intention was not to speak tonight, but I see that we have people here who are speaking on the topic of 799 Holt Road. And
Jerry,
my name is,
can you give name?
I'm getting there. My name is Jerry Goldman. I'm the attorney for 799 Holt Road LLC. Business address is 1900 Bausch Lawn Place in the city of Rochester. We are, on the agenda tonight is a draft resolution to call a public hearing. And that's all it is to do, and that's to call a public hearing on the issue of whether to utilize the PDD vehicle. I've heard some things tonight which are very helpful in our consideration of what's going on. One, we have to explore where we stand with e-pods on the site, and we will be doing that. But in addition, I should point out that senior housing within an OP district is not a rezoning, is not anything which is akin to a rezoning. When you set up a zoning scheme and when the zoning provides for a particular use as a special permit, what basically the code is saying is that the use is one which is a permitted use but requires special consideration by the various boards. And that is what is going on. And I think we all know from the point that the OP district was formed in the early 2000s to the present, we have hardly had any, if any, offices and office parks, well, one or two that I can think of. But the preponderance of development that has occurred has been senior housing. I would urge a board to allow this to go forward to a public hearing and to let's flesh out all these issues. Let the public be heard relative to it. Let us make our presentation and let you get on with the rest of your meeting. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. All right, going once for another speaker. Going twice. Okay, that concludes the open to the public section of the meeting. Next up, we have two meeting minutes to consider for approval with our new schematic. Both of those meetings happened on the same night, the workshop of October 17th and the regular town board meeting of October 17th. Just like tonight, we had a workshop at 6:30 and we had a regular town board meeting at a little after 7. I reviewed those minutes. I make a motion that we approve the October 17th workshop minutes.
Second. Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn. Aye. Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye.
And I would make a motion that we also approve the October 17th, 2024 regular town board meeting minutes.
Second. Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye. Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn. Aye.
Jenny!
I looked over the bills with the Director of Finance, and I believe everything is in order. I make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Councilman Wynn.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye.
And I have reviewed the prepaid warrants as submitted by Paul Adams, our Director of Finance. Make a motion we approve those.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye.
And I also reviewed the purchase orders as submitted by Paul Adams, Director of Finance, and make a motion we approve those. Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye.
Okay, next up is a updated safety manual that's been, a health manual for the town of Webster that, for our employees, I should say, for the town and government employees. That's been being worked on for quite some time now. I don't know if the board has any questions on it. I know they've gotten emails and things from Brayden Connor, our Director of Human Resources. I did see some back and forth. Do the board members want to hear anything from Brayden before we do a resolution on this updated amendment?
It's Braden's moment to shine for all the work that he's done. Does he have anything he wants to say?
Wait a minute, you just offered him a microphone?
I did.
I yield my time to Art Patron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you for,
very mature. It's the giving season, isn't it, Brayden?
Braden,
Okay.
thank you for herding all the cats on this, and this was just another big lift. Thanks for getting it done.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve and adopt the updated employee safety and health manual for the town of Webster.
Second. Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
I yield to Councilman Wright.
Aye. Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilman Wynn. Aye.
Paul, or Art, if you want to explain this
Yeah.
next one.
I'll give you a little background on this one. We're looking to close the Lake Road Pump Station Improvement Project. This was originally inspired by a Ready grant, which goes back a few years. The Ready grant was valued at just under $476,000, and the cost for this project came in at $854,000. Back in August of 2022, we authorized a transfer of $550,000 from the sewer capital reserve. So it didn't cost quite that much out of our pocket. So at this point, we have about $171,000, which can be transferred back to the sewer capital reserve, and we'll close up the project. Just the work is complete.
Okay. Where's the vote?
I would move to close the capital project H0226 Lake Road Pump Station improvements and to transfer the remaining funds of $171,536.03 back to the sewer capital reserve.
Second.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn. Aye. Councilwoman Wright.
Aye.
Is Samuel Hunt here tonight? Or Keith? Nope.
I'm representing him.
You're representing the esteemed town engineer Keith Mortimer, if you can explain the next one.
Sure. So tonight in front of you, we have a fill permit for 1139 5 Mile Line Road. In your packet, you should have some, deep in the packet, there should be some pictures and some aerial, kind of depicting what they're looking to do at the corner of their property that abuts 5 Mile Line Road. This is going to be a landscaping berm, about 20 foot long, 5 foot wide, 5 foot deep. On the northeast corner, they'd like this to be essentially a visual buffer to 5 Mile Line Road, and they expect this work to require about 20 cubic yards of fill soil. We've reviewed this application in the engineering department, and we recommend it for approval.
Could you repeat the dimensions of that, please, Keith?
Yeah, 20 foot long, 5 foot wide, and 5 foot deep.
I was just going to say, does that address the height?
Yeah, the height is deep. Sorry.
Deep, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
5 foot height.
Okay. And that will not impede any sight for people around us?
No, and they're keeping within the, outside of the right of way.
Wonderful.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Keith.
I make a motion to approve a fill permit for 1139 5 Mile Line Road.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn. Aye. Councilwoman Wright.
Aye.
Jennifer, is this you or is it John? Jennifer.
Yes, a couple, actually not a couple, months ago, we discussed a replacement for the town attorney, and at that time, I had voted no against that because I was looking for some more information. And what we've done, and after doing a little more research and discussion, I felt that it was prudent to move forward with DeMarco Taylor for a couple of reasons. One, they've been the town attorney, they understand the town, they're the incumbent, so they understand the long list of backlog that we have in the town. And I think too, because of that, and in changing the format, this is very important. I think this is very important. This is a significant change for the town of Webster. Going from Charlie, and thank you Charlie for your years of service, going from Charlie, who's had this position for 26 years, to outsourcing to a law firm is going to be a very big change. So working with somebody who is already working with the town seems to make a lot of sense. The other reason that I think this is very important is it's a 12-month agreement. So there's going to be some learning that is going to take place from both the town and the department heads interacting with this firm, in addition to the firm and the amount of work it actually takes to support the town of Webster. So for that reason, plus there is a 90-day cancellation clause. So if at any point it's not working for either the firm or Webster, there is an opportunity to course correct. And yeah, I think that I don't know if I have a point on, but I think those are the primary reasons. The last reason, probably the most important reason, is that the agreement has been restructured. So it's very similar to the other response. So there will be 3 attorneys, and the price of the engagement is within the town budget now. So it's staying within the town budget of $165,000. And lastly, there is some onboarding that needs to be done and some transition with Charlie, and the town will actually be able to save money by not having to pay another firm to come in and do that, because the incumbent attorneys are already working with the town. So for those reasons, I would move to authorize the supervisor to sign an engagement agreement for the town council legal service in 2025 with DeMarco Taylor attorneys at law.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Nay.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Before I vote on this, I just want to say that I was part of the vetting committee, and I felt that the process was very fair and equitable across all the firms that we recommended, that we interviewed, I'm sorry. And the recommendation came forth to this board that Mancuso Brightman be awarded the engagement and contract for legal services to the town at a total of $145,000. The reason that recommendation was made was because in doing the interviews, what we discovered is that the firm of Mancuso Brightman was actually created to provide municipal services. They brought comprehensive legal experience that they would offer to all boards, with dedicated individual counsel to both town board, planning board, and zoning board. They had a wealth of experience across all 3 of those arenas. And the other thing that was important to me was that they brought a real diversity to the town. Before the people who are watching get too tied to this 145 or 165, all these contracts that we looked at with the various legal firms, they are exclusive of some of the services that are outside of the scope of everyday legal services. So I don't want people to see that we're spending more money with other counsel, whether it be special counsel for police matters or Article 58.
You mean Article 78?
78, I'm sorry, 78. So I just don't want anybody to get too tied to that number, but we're looking at basic services to the town. My vote tonight is by no means disrespectful to DeMarco Taylor. I appreciate everything that they have done for the town to this point. And obviously the vote is going to award it to them, and I look forward to working with them in a very cohesive manner going forward, but my vote on this is no.
Okay. Next up is a resolution to authorize the town clerk to advertise and the director of finance to solicit requests for proposal for municipal bond council services. Paul, do you mind if I explain this one in 30 seconds or less?
Sure, you can go ahead, Tom. You're on the clock.
Am I on the clock? You ready? Set, go. Believe it or not, when you take out your debt for the town, and because we're doing some major projects, we had a very big issuance of a bond anticipation note in August for about $60 million, $65 million.
67.
And we noticed at that time that we hadn't done an RFP for a law firm that we get this bond counsel from for over 10 years. Further than that, maybe.
Possibly.
And sometimes you never need the bond counsel because you're never going into that of getting a bond anticipation note. Well, Paul and I got together and said, wow, in 2025, we'll probably have an April issuance of debt for these projects. And then we'll have an August issuance in 25 of maybe the final 30-year bond because the highway garage will be done and wherever. And so we decided it's time to go out to law firms and see who is the winning bid on that before we get to the next issuance in April. To give some perspective on this, I think the bill for the August bond for the attorney was $40,000 or $50,000.
About 40,000.
Okay. So that's the kind of money that we're talking about, and I don't think it's going to get any less when we go into 2025. So we want to see what we come up with. And we've had a good talk with the incumbent, who is Harris Beach, and we don't have any problems with how they've serviced the town. And I hope they understand, but this is just one of those procedures that you really got to do. And Miss Jackman just left. Like,
I know.
you know what? We do things every certain amount of years. This is one of them. Anyway, any other questions from the board before for this motion?
No.
It was over 30 seconds, yeah.
It sure was.
Yeah. Make a motion to authorize the town clerk to advertise and the director of finance to solicit requests for a proposal for municipal bond counsel services.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Wright?
Aye.
Next item up, 3 weeks ago, Attorney Ann Riley was here with her client Charlie Fox for the land across the street from the town hall, Ridge Commons, and subsequent meetings with Charlie as our town attorney and myself with Attorney Ann Riley and Charlie Fox, meetings with Josh Artuzo as we try to figure out what PDD resolution was done in December of 2019. There are some things about that resolution in that PDD and different zonings there that really need clarification. And any clarification of that or amendment of that PDD has to have a public hearing first. So this resolution is to set that public hearing on the amendment of this PDD. Doesn't mean at the public hearing that we will approve amending the public hearing, or the PDD. It just means we're setting a public hearing to get all the information from citizens that want to chime in on this. Any questions on this?
No, I just want to thank the speakers for,
Different property, different property.
yeah,
They did not talk about Rich Commons.
okay.
You can thank them when we get to that one.
This is, I want to comment on this one. This is, as Josh knows, sort of a work in progress. I would suggest that the board go ahead and schedule this. We're looking at other ways to resolve the particular issue that's causing this amendment.
Okay.
Yeah, and Charlie, I'm gonna take what you just said and say that today is November 7th. What goes in the November 20th Webster Herald, I don't have the slightest idea right now because of all the balls in the air that we're trying to figure out on this. But by November 20th, it needs to be published in the Webster Herald what the proposed amendment is. And whether that's to the MHR zoning, or whether that's to the MC zoning, whether that's to half the parcel, whether that's to whatever. We still need to do some legal work, talk to Dan Riley and her client, leading up to the 20th. Correct?
Yes, we're not looking at a rezoning. This was unusual because it was a PDD over two different zoning districts, or parcel within two different districts, one of which was residential, which is not a PDD. So,
I don't want to throw shade, but the 2019 resolution for this has got problems all over it. We'll leave it at that. So either we're going to amend it and fix the problems from 2019, or we'll see what happens. But I make a motion to set a public hearing to consider amending the Progressive Development District, PDD, at Ridge Commons issued in December of 2019. The public hearing will be on Thursday, December 5th at 7:30 p.m. in this boardroom and will be advertised in the Wednesday, November 20th Webster Herald. That's my motion.
Second. Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright? Aye. Councilwoman Cataldi? Aye. Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Wynn? Aye.
Well, I feel like we've had a lot of conversation on the next one, and I'll let Councilman Cahill thank all the speakers, but I want to first say a mystery has been solved. Whose writing is that? Diana Davis. When you were up there and you said, hey, you know, you see that I went back to 1974 and all that, what Diana was saying is that either she or somebody from the Green Space Committee dropped this off at the office today around 3:30. I wasn't in the office. Kim Doyle, who works in the supervisor's office, texted me and said, hey, I know you're not going to be back today, but somebody from Green Space dropped this folder off. What should I do with it? And I said, well, I'll tell you what you're going to do with it, Kim. Why don't you put it in my folder, and when I get to the board meeting at 6:15, 6:30, I'll look through and see what it is. Well, now I know what it is. It's about your not wanting a public hearing in the PDD on 799 Holt Road. Now, what I'm going to tell you I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make beautiful copies of it and make sure this board has that information.
They should have all gotten folders too.
Oh, well then it's probably in their mailboxes at Town Hall.
Yeah, I dropped it
Diana,
off at like
you and I
2.
work together?
2 p.m. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. Then I don't have to make copies. Town board members, in your mailbox, you have a folder that Diana Davis put together, about 15 pages, beautiful color, going back to 1974, EPODs, all sorts of stuff. And this is good information. It's great information. So thank you.
I will pick it up on the town.
Thank you.
Yes. And you saved Kim Doyle the from having to make copies for the board members. Okay, so we had some speakers on this tonight. We had the attorney for the developer also give the counterpoint to that. I will say one thing before, and John, I'll let you, say to the speakers. Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh. The process on this would be a public hearing for a PDD. Then there'd have to be a resolution to form a PDD. Then there'd have to be, I think because of the special use, it would have to start at the board for us to hand it to the planning board. that correct?
Both of these go to the planning.
Right, and then the planning board, they'd look at whatever concept plan the developer put together and EPODs and all that and say, well, this has got to go to the zoning board. Am I right so far?
Yes, if variances are required, then yes.
And then it would come back to the planning board.
Correct.
So how many public hearings do we have so far? We have the PDD public hearing. We have the, well, it wouldn't go to planning board public, it would go to zoning board public hearing because they wouldn't get past concept of planning board, right?
If there are variances.
If variances are needed.
How wouldn't you do variances with EPOD?
Well, because the EPOD designation, as Diana said, doesn't necessarily.
Be handled at the planning board level?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I guess my point is,
won't require any variances?
we don't know that.
We know yet?
We don't know that. But if it does, planning board, Tony's gone, they would send that to the zoning board. Tony, is that correct? You'd send it to the zoning board? So it never get to prelim and final because you'd be a concept to say you got it.
Sketch plan review.
Right. So then it would go to zoning board and there would be a, zoning board would have a public hearing. Second vote. I think you're right. I'm walking you down this march. Then it would go to planning board for prelim and final, and at prelim is, there'd be a public hearing. And then if you guys are okay with all that, it's gotta come back to the town board for us to issue a special permit, and is that public?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood the process. So I'm gonna hand it to John Kale because where I appreciate, I really do, the speakers came in tonight and said, don't set a public hearing. Maybe the board, to me, I'm just saying, I don't know why we wouldn't set a public hearing because it's the first of a long process that I consider and tell you in my 5 years on the town board, that process that I just described, there's been more failures that they never got to home plate than there has been successes on that process, Diana. So, I want everybody to be realistic to this. Setting a public hearing doesn't mean that tomorrow there's going to be a senior housing project. John, I'll hand it to you.
I appreciate you coming in, and I will admit my ignorance with respect to what an EPOD is. I've been doing some research on it right here, and I am concerned with your statements, and for that reason, I would rather do some more research and come to an educated decision with respect to this. That's my comment.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board members? Okay. Well, I'm going to make a motion to set a public hearing to establish a progressive development district, PDD, at 799 Holt Road, the former lumberyard site. The public hearing would be on Thursday, November 21st at 7:30 p.m. here in the town boardroom and would be advertised in the Wednesday, November 13th Webster Herald.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Nay.
Councilman Nguyen? Nay. Councilman Wright?
Aye.
Okay, next up, and is Chris gone? He is. I want to thank, we're getting a lot better at this. The fee schedules for 2025. We're striving to get them done when we do the 2025 budget. We approved the 2025 budget on October 17th, 2024, 3 weeks ago. This is a trailing document, I'll say, that Chris had to tie up a few other things just to make sure that the fee schedule he was proposing for 25 met his needs and all that. But we're getting better at this, because 5 years ago, we would do a budget, Paul, in November for the following year, and in March, 3 months into the year, departments are coming in saying, this is what I'd like my fee schedule to be for this year.
That's right. Few months late.
Yeah, we're getting good, we're getting better.
We're getting much better.
So, any questions about this?
No.
No, I'll make a resolution to adopt the 2025 Town of Webster fee schedule and the 2025 Webster Parks and Recreation Center Lodge Facility
Councilwoman Wright,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi,
Aye.
Councilman Wynn.
Aye.
Well, this next one was about an hour ago, a little more than an hour ago, that Josh was finishing up on the comprehensive plan and his recommendation of Colliers. And as this resolution reads, you know, it's authorizing me to sign the contract with Colliers, the professional planning firm. But like I said, I didn't know how that whole conversation was going to go, so I even overtly said maybe table to November 21st, depending on the results of the workshop discussion. Since I'm going to be the one signing it, I can't make the motion.
But I can. So I would move, I'm looking for the specifics on this as well, because I want to include it in the resolution. I would move to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Colliers professional consulting firm for the purpose of updating the town's comprehensive plan in the amount of $109,000. Josh, can you fill me in on this one?
Yep, 109,950.
What Josh said? 109,950. Yeah, that's my motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Cataldi,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilman Wynn,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright.
Aye.
Okay, well, I think I have how it's going to read, but Art, Rick, and Paul have been pretty active the last couple of weeks in talking to the various town board members about this, what am I going to call it, a modification to the scope of the wastewater treatment plant. I'd like to think that the town board members had all their questions answered by those three gentlemen, but before we do any resolution on this, is there any questions?
No, I just want to thank Rick and Art for their input and your patience with all my questions. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate it.
Betty, you wouldn't mind, because Paul, we send these to the newspaper 8 days ago, so it's a little bit amended, no pun intended, from what it reads on the agenda. The motion is to approve a modification to the scope of the wastewater treatment plant Phase 2 project for the sodium hypochlorite storage and delivery relocation at a total estimated cost of $309,348.
Was that your motion?
That is.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi, aye. Councilman Cahill, Councilman Wynn, Councilman Wright.
Aye.
Down to the nitty gritty. Various department heads can let it rip.
I will. We're not quite to the
That
nitty
is
gritty.
not the, yeah, sorry, number 14 has got some meat on the bone that I think Charlie might have to explain.
This is another one of the sewer extension districts that we had in the works for the last 3 years. It's gone back and forth for a number of reasons, mainly due to the controller's office. But this was before the town board a couple of weeks or a few meetings ago, and we sent it to the controller's office. They made a couple suggestions, and I think basically the main suggestion they requested was the addition of the wording on the second page regarding the finance, the financing of the project with the funds from the sewer workers' compensation and insurance reserve. So it's basically the same resolution that you passed before, but we added that wording, we're just clarifying it. What happens now is we send this back to the controller's office for approval. So there'll be another resolution we'll be proposing. closer now than we have been getting this done finally. Thanks, Charlie.
I would move that we clarify resolution number 284 of 2024, which approved in addition to the Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, specifically the Woodard Road extension in the town of Webster, to reflect the amended language that is before us in keeping with the recommendations by the State Comptroller's Office.
Second.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Wynn?
Aye.
Now we're down to the nitty-gritty.
Now we fly.
I would make a resolution or move to approve the following items for recycling from the Parks and Recreation Department: a Yamaha keyboard and a storage cabinet.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Wynn?
Aye.
I would move to approve the following items for recycling from the Highway Department: a 2011 steel cutoff saw.
Second.
Councilman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Wynn?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
I would move to approve the following items as surplus from the cable department: a stage and a news desk.
Second.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Wynn?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Wynn?
Aye.
And that concludes 18 resolutions. We did that in 55 minutes. How about that? But we got our round here, which is kind of my favorite part of this. So let's start with Keegan.
So I would like to recognize Mark Stein, who is our video officer here tonight. He has completed a monumental task by, we were able to get our responses back to comments and requests for information that rose out of our EPA audit. We had a due date of November the 12th, and those responses were received and confirmed receipt by EPA this afternoon at about 1 o'clock p.m. Mark has been probably the most instrumental person in getting us through that process, in addition to Pat Stevens, who I don't think is here tonight, who is our current MS4 officer. So it's been quite a lift coming out of the starting gate for Mark here. Just being on for about 6 months and being in the job for a month and a half and getting nailed with the EPA audit. So I do appreciate him and recognize him, as well as Pat.
That's great, because I know when they first did the audit, they did the summary meeting, the Zoom with 37 people from EPA, DEC, SOBs, all those acronyms. They said they weren't going to get us the stuff until probably Thanksgiving.
Right.
So they got it to us earlier, and now we've given the responses, and we should be pretty close to wrapping this up.
I think we're pretty well wrapped up.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us. The EPA and the DEC have extended the regulations and requirements that we will as a town have to engage to make sure that we're in compliance. We're working on that plan now.
Great. Josh?
I have nothing new to share this evening.
Tom, all the tax levy data has been reported to Monroe County, so at this point they will review it, send it back to me. I will re-review it and confirm that it's accurate, and then I will go in front of the county legislature.
Super.
Jen? I recently signed up for a boot camp class at the Parks and Recreation Department, and I just want to say how much fun this class is. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, trying to get the workout in before the day starts, and I would just encourage other people to take advantage of the classes there. It's a lot of fun, And I will say, it was such an interesting experience, because I haven't gone to the gym in a long time. And I walked in there, and everybody in the class was looking at me like, "You're new. Oh, you're new." And they all introduced themselves to me. They're all a very friendly bunch of people. Great class, great opportunity to stay in shape and engage with the community. So consider signing up for classes at the Parks and Recreation Department. There's lots to choose from.
Thank you, Jennifer. I will consider it, but you won't see me there at 6 in the morning.
I'm already at work.
I want to remind everyone that Monday is Veterans Day, and at the Village of Webster, in keeping with their tradition, we'll be having a ceremony at 11 o'clock in the Veterans Memorial Park to honor all veterans. And there will be a luncheon at the Village Community Room following that from 11:30 to 1:30, where they invite all veterans, current military personnel, and their families to join them for a luncheon to honor their service to our community. So for all who can go out and join that really special memorial event, I would encourage you to do that on Monday.
She stole my thunder. I was going to make a comment about Veterans Day, but happy Veterans Day on the Veterans Day.
Yes, thank you for your service.
Jenny?
I've got my little script here. First of all, we should all look past our differences, and regardless of our race, religion, or even our party's affiliation, by focus on the issues in which we stand and the common good of the people in this wonderful country that we live in. Nowhere in the world could compare to the United States of America. And I would like to thank all the veterans and their sacrifice and service to our country. Also this Saturday, November 9th, I will be marching in the Veterans Day Parade at Highland Park. And on Saturday, November the 16th, the Webster Museum at 18 Letham Park in the village of Webster will be featuring an event about special veterans in our community. Please come and see the show. Also, the Friends of the Library is having their head sale at the library this week. Please come out and support our Webster Library and our Webster Museum. They exist because of you. And also, too, I would like to thank everyone here for being here this evening. God bless America. Thank you.
That's tough to follow, Jen.
I'm not following that. I will say, but the village of Webster is still having a veterans lunches. You know, when I was mayor, I was part of that for 4 years, and it's a truly one way of giving back. But my feeling is, you know, as a country, we need to do more for our veterans. We really, really do.
Damn right.
We do some stuff that have been in the last few years for people that have never served this country, who are not supposed to be here, and we ignore not doing enough for our veterans who have sacrificed so much for this country. That's all I have.
So now you gotta follow him.
Just wrapping up, finalizing school tax collection season. We'll have about a week of breathing time to look back and see what our great accomplishments were and where we can improve. And then we start up with town and county and prepping and getting ready for all of that.
And that concludes our meeting tonight. We are adjourned.